All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we got to put some shades on today, boys. The kid is a little bit under the weather. We're gonna see if we can do something like Michael Jordan. They said Mike played Game 6 of the playoffs. I believe it was against Utah. They said he had the flu. Might have been Game 5, and he balled out. So I'm looking to do the same tonight. Our final Real Talk Sports Tuesday night show for the 2023 year. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and make it do what it do. A nice 1 hour show tonight. We're ending at 9 p.m. So I might be able to get some rest that you guys can recuperate from what I hope was a very Merry Christmas holiday. So for all of you guys enjoyed that. Remember, before we get started, I just want to say this. Thank you all for watching this broadcast, especially those who've been watching on the replay, those who've been listening to the Lord have mercy, been listening to us on the podcast. However you're checking us out, we thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for joining us through the 2023 year. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you. And we are fast approaching 800 800 subscribers on YouTube, getting close to that 1,000 numbers. So I'm going to encourage you again. Subscribe, and subscribe to the Real Talk Sports Show on YouTube. We are Real Talk Sports 7. Matter of fact, we're Real Talk Sports 7 on every social media platform. So please, man, please, sir, go ahead and follow us on social media if you have not already. And please subscribe. Help us get that 1,000, crack that 1,000 barrier of subscribers on YouTube. Well, look, I want to open this up for you guys tonight. What was kind of the biggest event for you in 2023? What was kind of the seminal kind of sports headline for you on 2023? Now I get my glasses on, regular glasses, as I wait for my coach to come on. They will help me read your comments on social media. But until then, oh, my glasses kind of crooked. Praise the Lord. Let me get them straight. There we go. Now they're straight. Amen. Yeah. So, what was the biggest sports headline for you guys in 2023? What was the biggest sports headline? Let me know. Hit us up here. I'm gonna pop it up here on the screen. Um, how about the top three? What were your top three sports headlines of 2023? Let me know right now. What were your top sports headlines or sports stories? Let's put it that way. Stories of 2023. Let me know if I can spell here. Again, thank you guys for hanging in with me. Sorry for the scratchy voice, but my daughter's friend, it was her birthday over the weekend. So we went to the Falcons game, and unfortunately, he was not feeling well. So I was like, well, why is he here? When it said, my daughter said, well, Dad, he's coming to support me. It's my birthday. I was like, well, he can stay at home. Them cooties will support him better if he don't get us sick. But love is in the L. I'm putting this out there. She probably gonna get me when she watches this. But so I get it. It's your friend. He wanted to do the right thing. He tried to be a stand-up guy, and he got us all sick. Now I can't really blame him totally. Some of it might have been me. I decided a good idea on a rainy Christmas morning to get out here and take my 15-minute walk. Rain whipping all over the place. And I think that might have been the biggest cause for me getting sick as anything else. But I got to tell you, I'm a baby. I hate being sick. How about you? Do you hate being sick? I hate it. Maybe it's nothing major. I haven't had to take a COVID test or anything like that, but I just hate feeling under the weather because my head is clogged. I got the chills. I feel hot and go back and forth. So anyway, enough about me. We're here to talk some sports. Again, what are your top sports stories, your top three sports stories for 2023? Please let me know so I can put you on the screen. We can chop it up and talk to you as we close out 2023 with certainly not with a whimper, with a bang if we can. Here it is right here. Here it is. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, what are your top three sports stories for 2023? Let me know what you think. Love to have your feedback on this. I'll put it on social media as well so you guys can see that and make a comment on social media. We'll pop it up there right now for you. Again, what were your top sports stories in 2023? Was it the destruction of one of the legendary college football conferences, the Pac-12? What was it? Georgia making a tremendous run to try to get to win three straight championships and then denied even the ability to play in the college football championship series in the playoffs. What was your top three sports stories for 2023? There's the question we're putting up there on social media for you. And there it is. What were your top three sports stories for 2023? Hit us up right now as we are looking for your feedback so we can talk. I'm relying on you guys tonight. Like I said, again, you can hear my throat is all scratchy. So please, man, please, sir, jump on in there and hit us up with what you think are the top sports stories for 2023 in your mind. Love to figure out what that is. So, do you think it was the emergence of Deion Sanders with the rest of the college football world? No, he had made a big splash with HBCUs, with Jackson State, and to some degree it impacted college football. But when he went to Colorado, do you think that was a big story? Deion going to Colorado and making waves with that program, or do you think it was a destruction of the Pac-12? Uh, do you think the Super Bowl is one of the best ever? The showdown between the Eagles and the Chiefs that went right down to the wire. What was your top three sports stories? Hit us up right now on social media. You see it right there on your screen. Love to have you be a part of it and jump in and tell us what your thoughts were about what were the top three sports stories in for 2023 as we wrap it up with our final broadcast of the year. And again, guys, you see me kind of leaning back in the chair. That's because again, the minister is feeling a little flat but not fluffy. I have a cold of some type, and I'm feeling kind of crazy, but that's all right. There's a question right there on social media. Answer that for me. What were your top three sports stories in 2023? Let's look at it here in Atlanta. It was a mixture, a mixed bag. Actually, a lot of uh, really kind of bad stories, not bad stories, but stories of teams just not performing at their highest level. Now I'll go back to the beginning of the year at some point and talk about my experience at Super Bowl 23 because that kind of, I think, kicked off to some degree my year going to Super Bowl and covering, I believe, I think it was the third or fourth time. I think about the fourth time that we covered the events around the Super Bowl, couldn't cover the game itself. So that was a big highlight for me, and I'll let you guys take a look at the clip of one of my interviews at the Super Bowl. And then also, as we move through the year, the Braves just being the hammer of Major League Baseball and not being able to get out of the first round series. And the Braves bats went cold as ice. And once again, their nemesis, the Philadelphia Phillies, knocked them off in the first round. Was that the biggest sports story for you? One of the biggest three. As we move into the fall season, is it the Falcons seemingly being unable, with all the talents and all the gifts they have, as far as talent on the field, to be able to field a team that's a winning team? When I say winning, I mean a team that everybody thought was going to win the division, and now will need a yeoman effort of them not losing any more games for the rest of the season, and Tampa Bay losing at least one for them to have a shot to do that. Is that the biggest sports story for you, or at least one of the top three? Or was it Georgia? After running the table during the regular season and winning 12-0, losing the SEC championship and being ousted from the college football playoffs, was that one of your top three stories? Let me know right here. Hit me up on social media. Let me know what's going on. And we'd love to get your feedback on it. Now, my headlines were for today as follows. Two big questions I have as far as our headlines, we'll probably get into a third as time goes on, is that number one, was this the Falcons' best game overall? This 29-10 victory over the Colts. What do you think about that? Was that their best game? And two, what do you think about the idea of Hawks trading um, DeJounte Murray? What do you think about that? That's going to be two of our big headlines, along with one of our top three stories in sports. So let's go to social media. Our good buddy Todd has jumped into the fray, and Todd says for him, one of the top three stories was the corruption of money in college football. And I got to tell you guys, that really was one of the big stories. I mean, it is really a shame how the guys that run the NCAA, the so-called presidents of higher learning, went on a massive, I mean, a massive grab for cash as they just destroyed conferences. Um, they destroyed long-time rivalry games. And the biggest joke of all time is multiple members of the Pac-12 moving to the Big Ten. So if I can get this straight, you think a natural rival for you, to play a regional game is for UCLA, Washington, I think Oregon, USC. Now, I mean, they play these games normally as these marquee games where they'll play against a Big Ten opponent, but the idea of them playing a Big Ten schedule is absurd. You're flying halfway across the country. And keep in mind, guys, it's absurd in football, but imagine how crazy it is for other sports, baseball, sports that don't make a lot of money, where they got to pack up these kids and tote them cross country. And how about the parents? Is it fair for the parents for them to have to do that kind of thing? So no question, that is, Tyler, I agree with you. That's definitely one of the top three sports stories. The absolute greed that has been going on in college sports. And it's so funny. Before this, before the NILs, before the massive amounts of money that were being pumped in these schools via these TV contracts, you heard these. And I'm gonna have to get and use some big words here. These sanctimonious, hypocritical heads of the NCAA, excuse me, heads of the NCAA, heads of these college and universities, having the audacity to come on every week, every time money came up, and talk about it's about the education of the children, and it's about kids getting their degrees, and it's all about the quote unquote the sanctity of the competition in college football, and keeping it an amateur sport. When for years behind the scenes, teams were paying huge amounts of money. I mean, we're going back 40, 50 years ago. Matter of fact, to this day, a Hall of Fame football player, Eric Dickerson, if he's asked about the amount of money that he got from SMU back in the 80s, to, excuse me, to this day, he won't discuss it. So this is nothing new. I don't want to make it sound like this is nothing new, but the heights of the greed and the institutionalization. Ooh, that's the word for the day. The word for the day is institutionalization of the greed is what I think Todd is talking about and what's irritated me. And so again, we'll pop Todd's comments up. He said, top story for me was corruption of money in college sports. And Dion was the most overhyped story in sports. That's it for number two. Number three, Braves blew it. And also Gruden firing his case against the NFL, which will be a landmark case. So that's Todd's picks. What do you guys think? What do you think were the top three stories in sports? What were the top three stories in sports for 2023? What's your opinion? Love to have you guys jump on here and join us today. So let's kind of chop this up for a second here. Let's go back here to our man Todd. He says top story was corruption of money in college sports, and now he's got kind of 1-1A. Dion being the most overhyped story in sports. What do you want to do, guys? One thing I try to do is to learn from the best, and we have some of the best here that have been so gracious to join us on our program. One of the individuals is a gentleman that has a tremendous amount of pedigree. He just flashed up on the screen for you guys know what time it is. He is a not one but two-time Super Bowl champion. He is a member of the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. He's the first ever Carolina Panthers defensive draft selection. And also, he is in the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame and soon to be inducted in the Black College Football Hall of Fame. I'm talking about number 38, the one and only Tyrone Poole's in the building. Tyrone, welcome back, sir. I think we got something going on with your mic here. Yeah, you got to unmute your mic there, sir.
Merry Christmas, everybody. How you doing, Jonathan? Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Hope everybody had a great holidays.
Amen. Well, Tyrone, I'm on the air because of your inspiration, sir. You said, "Hey, man, the show must go on, dude." I was feeling so crazy earlier today, man. I had the shivers, got a temperature. Listen, I went to work, and Mr. Vigil saw me. He said, "You sick? Get out of here. Go home." So my daughter and I have been guzzling down chicken soup, trying to make it right. But I said to myself, I ain't Michael Jordan trying to play Game 5 in the WNBA Finals. Says Tyrone, say, "Suck it up, get in there. Come on, let's go.
Hey
Let's
man,
end the season the right way."
sports doesn't stop. So if you choose to broadcast and keep the public informed with what's going on in sports, you can't take no days off, Jonathan. If you care about informing the people about sports, there's no day off. They didn't take no day off from Christmas, right? They played football. Again, I remember when I was playing, there was no holidays. On Christmas, like this past Christmas, I guarantee you, the teams were offered, the players, they went to the captains, right? And the coaches talked to the captains. And here's the game plan for the practice over the holiday weekend or whatever the case may be. Okay, we can either come in on like Christmas Day, right? We can come in very early and we can leave before the afternoon. So everybody can go spend time with their family in the latter part of the day. Or you guys can spend Christmas morning at home and then we come to practice at like 2 o'clock. Those were the choices. There is no
And I'm
day.
sure most people took option number 1 and option number 2, baby.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Okay.
Some guys, everybody do it differently. Some people, they open up gifts like they allow their kids to open up gifts like the night before the Christmas Day, or some
Right.
let them open up gifts that Christmas Day morning. But most of the time, it was guys would rather sleep in with the family, and wake up Christmas Day with the family, and then come to practice later on that afternoon.
Well, the Falcons evidently decided to get over in the morning. I saw an interview with Coach Smith. He brought the guys in first thing. They chopped it up, did what they had to do. Obviously, it's a lot easier to do that when you're coming off of a win, a must win for the Falcons. And that's what we're going to ask later on. Was this the best win of the season as far as overall play for the Falcons? Well, to answer that question, guys, you got to keep it locked right here from the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions, or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm Aria, the first AI presenter for Real Talk Sports. We want to get your feedback about my participation in the show, so please leave comments. So stay tuned, the Real Talk Sports Show is coming up.
We're back, guys. Again, we thank you for tuning into the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the not only one but two-time Super Bowl champion, Mr. Tyrone Poole, is in the building. Mr. Tyrone, I'd asked people earlier, I think you heard it as you were coming on. The first question I wanted to kind of look at just a little bit was, what were your top 3 sports stories of 2023? What were your top 3 stories for 2023?
I got one top story.
He got one, baby. Let's go.
How come they haven't put me in the HBCU Black College Hall of Fame yet? If it's all about college.
Controversy. Controversy. Why haven't they done it?
Go talk to Doug William and his buddies and see what's going on.
We need to do that. We got a chance to meet Doug earlier in this year. As a matter of fact, this was a quick little interview as we covered a big fundraiser here in Atlanta, golf tournament, to raise money for HBCUs. Here's the man himself, Williams.
All right, guys, we're on the scene here at a great HBCU fundraiser. My good buddy Walter Kirkland
has got one of the great college and NFL players of all time. He's going to introduce himself to you right now.
I'm Doug Williams. This is Doug Williams. Went to Grambling State University, Super Bowl 22 MVP, and here I am, to support the 100 Black Men's Golf Tournament.
I mean, how important is it for the 100 Black Men to be out here doing this type of thing, trying to keep money going through the coffers of HBCUs?
Well, I think, the fact that they're doing it, give guys like myself and other guys and ladies an opportunity to come in and help out. I think that's the most important thing. And I'm just glad I'm here because of what they're doing, and not only for that, but what they've done throughout the whole history of 100 Black Men. They've always been the beacon of hope. I want to help somebody, and doing it for the HBCU is just a plus.
Look, man, I know you're.
Yeah,
guys, we're on the scene here at a great HBCU fundraiser.
Them sleepy fingers got me again. Well, we're gonna kind of put some out there, man, because there's no question that you should be in, bro. I don't know what they're waiting on. Got that legendary career at Fort Valley State University, already in their Hall of Fame. Guy was the first round pick of the Carolina Panthers, and like I mentioned, not one, not two Super Bowl championship. Let's go to social media here. Tyrone, I think you got somebody in your corner, man. You said Tyrone, I agree.
Yeah.
Todd, and and Todd, from time to time, he throwing some shade at Tyrone, but he said, no, he said, Tyrone, you should be in there. He said, also, he thinks you should be coaching at Georgia Tech, the DB coach.
Actually just go back to that Hall of Fame thing. It don't really make no difference to me regardless, because I'm a Hall of Famer regardless. So one thing about me, I'm just speaking candid and open here. I don't let other people define who I am. So regardless, it's almost like in the NFL, right? There are some guys who actually didn't make the Pro Bowl. And then there are guys who made the Pro Bowl, right? And I always thought that the Pro Bowl was a popularity contest. It's like whoever the fans like, sometimes you like people who are voting, whoever they like or whatever. If you don't talk to them enough or whatever, they kind of go with the people who they can smile at every day instead of going with the right person. So whenever a Pro Bowler, a person who had a phenomenal season, didn't get picked as a Pro Bowler, we as his peers, we would say, man, how come they didn't vote such and such in? Dude having a great season, man. So my thing is, as long as the peers, understand who you are, then that really is all that matters, but to a point. But again, awards, people control the awards. People have feelings and everything like that. So, you can't worry about stuff like that. You just keep moving on, just like you did the show, Jonathan. You did the show. Just got to keep going, man. Got to keep going. That's it.
Make it do what it does, man. At the end of the day, that is it, man. And again, what you've already done on the field speaks for itself. I mean, that's really the bottom line. It'd be one thing to say, well, we never seen the guy, we don't know, but there's tape, there's footage, there's measurables that show that you were amongst the best at every level, high school, college, and then being able to have a pro career that lasts over a decade. This is the NFL. NFL stands for not for long. And the fact that you were able to do it and have multiple teams want you to be part of their programs, including, of course, that excellent run with the Patriots where you won 2 Super Bowl titles, man. Like I said, that speaks for itself. So we just going to leave it right there and just let it marinate.
Yeah, leave it right there. Now, I will say this. One of the top stories, just talking about football again, the transfer portal. I think, that was we're beginning to see. I think 2023 was the ushering in of the initiation of quote unquote free agency in college football. And that's what they call the transfer portal. It's the new free agency in college football. So I'm even believing, or my mindset is, these high school kids, in order for them, either the NCAA, like I've heard, which I believe, they're going to either have to raise the level of scholarships per team, or some of these high school kids, they're going to have phenomenal seasons, man. They got to be a phenomenal athlete. They're only going to grab those guys who are phenomenal and give them scholarships to go and, full scholarships or NIL deals or whatever the case may be. But I think the big news for the 2023 season, if you guys have not already talked about this, is the transfer portal and how it is about to change the game. And if the NCAA don't get a grip on it, like one coach said, the price, the going price for a quarterback that can help you win the championship, which that's what it's all about now. It used to be go to a bowl game. It's no longer that no more. It's win the college football championship, right? So we need a quarterback. How much does a quarterback cost in the transfer portal? Well, gonna cost us about $2 million. All right, you got to pay him. So again, that's the new free agency in college football.
Incredible. Yeah, the money is insane, and certainly, I have had to change my attitude as I've gone over the years and have more athletes like yourself who play the games and minister. Listen, man, I hear what you're saying about that scholarship, but we need money to eat. We need money if we want to have a social life. So the kids need to get paid. And plus, how dare we really, and how did we do it all these years to ask, the kids who basically are what people are paying to see, come out there and, let's face it, it's a brutal sport, and to get pennies on the dollar. Meanwhile, you got coaches, not only going to teams and making multi-million-dollar salaries, but then in the cases of the Georgia Tech, LSU, and numerous schools, they are still paying guys not to coach. Come on now. So at the end of the day, they had to do something, but there's the NCAA, see, now they got no teeth. The tie got no teeth, bro. I mean, these conferences are doing what they want to do. They don't care. We saw with Michigan. Yeah, Michigan basically self-policed themselves and said, okay, we're going to let Jim Harbaugh not coach for a couple of games. But it wasn't like the NCAA said, hey, if you let him coach or do whatever, we're going to do this. The other thing, they have no teeth with football right now, and they're running out of teeth for basketball. So instead of them being on the forefront, on the vanguard of getting some things done and having, this is what the NCAA is really supposed to, not run around and penalize people for some nonsense. Hey, this kid got an extra $30 meal or whatever. This is the type of thing where we would need really a strong, well-managed NCAA, but we got Ugats. We got nothing. We got a bunch of clowns that basically are just, seriously, these guys are basically getting a check for doing nothing.
Yeah.
2 years ago, the NCAA had over $500 million reach their coffers. $500 million. And oh, by the way, it's a nonprofit organization like the NFL. I'm just saying. Let's go back to social media. Todd says Tyrone, college football needs a commissioner like the NFL does. One voice. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I think, commissioner would be good. That would be needed. But what about who's the head coach for the I forgot his name that quick, but he proposed a 64 team like football league, right? And he Chip what's the Chip
Kelly.
Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly. It came to me right there. But Chip Kelly proposed a 64 team league, right? And basically he broke it down kind of like the NFL does. The NFL, they're broken down into 32 teams, but they got different divisions.
Yep.
Yep. So the 64 would be broken down like that in college football based off of what Chip Kelly was saying. Evidently, he heard it from somebody, and he just being the mouthpiece, right? So he said you had the West Coast teams, the East Coast teams, and they would take turns playing each other like every, given year, whatever. You play 7 games against, maybe the East Coast. The East Coast plays 7 games against the West Coast, and then you have 5 games or so where you play people on, your division, so to speak. So this way it kind of eliminates a little bit of, hey, such and such didn't play such and such. Would they have beaten such and such? So, that wasn't a far-fetched idea, but a commissioner, I think, would be great. And I think that's where it's going to end up going. You got these leagues like the SEC, they're trying to do their own thing. And again, as you did it, Jonathan, you did the fingers, Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Once that money starts leaving people, going into other people's hands, people are going to start saying, okay, hold on. Let's make a deal. kind of like that game show, right? Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. So I give you this, you give us that, and let's smoke the peace pipe, right? So, of course, everybody knows that football is the most money-generating sport on a college campus, and no school or institution or those who sit on a committee want to lose a job or lose money. So I think it's going to come down to a commissioner at some point, and then they're going to break up into just football only. Everybody else can play in their own, like Pac-12 and SEC and all that, but I think they're going to take 64 teams and say this is the one conference for football.
Yeah, I think, I guess maybe because of my age and having all the traditions, so forth, I would hate to see something like that. I also don't like the idea of them playing the first round games at, the higher seeds stadium. I think they should incorporate that just like they do with the college football playoffs into the bowl games. And find that second tier bowl games and let them play on neutral sites. That's the idea. You want just like if you quote unquote trying to follow the NCAA March Madness, that's how they do. It's all about, hey, we're on a neutral site and let the chips fall where they may. And plus the other thing too is, man, the bowls have always been kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say panacea, but that's not really the right word. It's been kind of like a reward for your boosters and for your family members, especially, I'm from the Northeast, those cold weather cities in the Midwest and Northeast, to go out to a Rose Bowl, to go out to an Orange Bowl, to go out to a Cotton Bowl, which, it's been cold, lots on the Cotton Bowl, but for the most part, into a southern or warm city where they can kind of relax, play some golf, have a good time. So, I don't know what's all going to come out of it. I think they still should have some type of conferences. I like the regional rivalries, but the money trumps everything, bro. It's insane how much money, especially now that you have people like Amazon and Apple with all the money they have. These are $1 trillion companies net worth, and they want the content. So these greedy, let me not call them out their name. These gentlemen that are running college sports, they see the money and they want that money. All right, guys, go ahead. We're going to take a little break here. We'll be back in just with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Again, want to know from you guys, what are your top 3 sports stories for 2023? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Falcons. Is this their best win of the year? And more. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show.
Sorry, Richardson.
We got some more breaking news. All right, guys, keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back.
Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm Aria, the first AI presenter for Real Talk Sports.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Sorry about my bad writing, Coach. My finger's getting a little numbed up here.
This is your time to get what you want. Go work that thing with Work That Thing supplements.
That's right, guys. You want to get yourself in some shape? Check out our man Tyrone Poole. Great products. Work that thing. Also, great inspiration as well. If you guys want to try to ratchet up your game, check him out. Work that thing. And our man Tyrone Poole. Remember, you can find him anywhere on social media at Tyrone Poole 38. All right, before we talk a little bit of the Hawks, another breaking story. Tyrone said, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Oh yeah, and, the women did some things also. Shakari Richardson, she bounced back and won the 100. After everybody, and what I liked about her, man. When she lost to the Jamaican women, and like she basically was in almost last place, right? And she said it. She said it's not over. It's not over. And that's what I like. That's what I call working that thing. She worked that thing. She went back and she knew who she was. She knew she could sprint. She just had to get her mind right. So she went back and she worked that thing called her mindset and came back and won at 100, man. Won at 100. And then you think about Simone Biles. She in gymnastics. She won her 8th all-around title. So there were a lot of great feats and stories that happened in 2023. As a country, as an individuals, and I'm pretty sure 2024 is going to do the same thing. And also my last one, the teenage sensation Coco. She won the women's singles at the U.S. Open. So she's living on the legacy of Serena and Venus Williams. So she's another up and coming. So there's a lot of great things that happen in the world of sports that we can all look at and say, yeah, they worked that thing.
Women's sports was on the docket. You just talked about some of the great ones. Also, Las Vegas, which is ironically going to be the home of the Super Bowl 58. The Las Vegas Aces, back-to-back WNBA titles. They won it again. Aces, wonderful team. Their head coach has been even considered to be an NBA coaching candidate. Great things going on there with the women's sports across the board, and we look forward to more great things. The ladies take center stage as well. Well, and Tyrone tried to help me. He said, man, talk about other teams across the league. But of course, since we are based in Atlanta, before we get into the NFL, the playoff picture, and of course the Falcons win on Sunday, what's going on with the Hawks, and why on earth are we seeing rumors, Tyrone, of DeJounte Murray on the trading block? What on earth? Why would the Hawks want to trade a guy they just brought in trade, gave up some assets for? What's the story? Why would they do it?
I don't know, man. It's kind of like that Jimbo Fisher deal. You bring a dude in, pay him all that money just to what? Trade him again. You still got to pay him all that money. And in the NBA, don't really know exactly how that thing works, but I'm pretty sure that the Hawks still will have to owe Mr. Murray some money, unless how they work that deal out. Every sport is different on how they handle those contracts. But like you said, Jonathan, why would you bring somebody in and really haven't given the guy, not only pay him that money, but you don't give the guy an opportunity to develop continuity with the team? So you brought him in for a purpose because you saw that there was a weakness and you felt like he could shore up that weakness that could help you get over the hump. So again, this is where I say you got to know your identity, and teams that don't have an identity don't know what they're actually trying to do. And I'm not saying the Hawks don't, but when you look at things that teams do, like you said, make you scratch your head or make you do the Arsenio Hall thing, like, makes it, But at the end of the day, you got to give a guy an opportunity. You got to give the team an opportunity, and then you move on. But that one there, I'm kind of scratching my head as well.
Yeah, definitely a bizarre situation with them trading a guy they just brought in, a guy that gave up multiple draft picks and have, basically agreed to re-up him at a substantial amount of money. And this is coming after getting rid of a guy that was, part of the team for a long time. Everybody thought was going to be a long-term part of the team, John Collins. And also Kevin Huerter, a guy that was one of the better three-point shooters in the league and got basically nothing in return. So now you begin to wonder, this Hawks team. I like Tony Wrestler, nice guy. Met him on several occasions, but many of the things that he talked about, being willing to spend the money, being willing to go into the cap for a winning team. I don't know if we're seeing that. Well, let's here might be one reason right here. If you guys go to StatMuse, it's something called statmuse.com. I asked the question, what is the Hawks record since acquiring DeJounte Murray? And surprisingly, since he's been with the Hawks are under 500. They're 50-53. Now, last year they were 38-36, but this year they are 5 games under 500 at 12-17. And all of his numbers, they haven't gone down much, but they are down. His rebounds per game down from 5.3 to 4.4. His scoring down just a pinch, 20.3 from 20.5 a game. And you just kind of wonder to yourself, here's a guy that has really actually helped Trae Young be a better defender. Him and Trae Young both are amongst the top 10 in the league in steals. And Trae has played markedly better defense. So you got to ask yourself, why would you trade a guy who's been the de facto leader of the team since Trae really doesn't seem to be interested? I'm not understanding what the Hawks are trying to do here.
You know, and I look at Murray. You know, he started all the games that they played this year. So you know the guy's healthy. His minutes are right up there with Trae Young. Trae Young is averaging about 36 minutes a game. Murray, 34 minutes a game. He's scoring 8 points less than Trae, who's leading the Hawks with 28 points. Murray, 20 points. So I'm like you said, what is the problem here? And sometimes it could be some hidden, underlining things, right? Maybe Murray has spoken with the franchise and maybe said, hey, I don't like it here, guys, and blah, blah, blah. We need to do something, whatever. Because remember, there was some big, heated situations with Trae Young. Hopefully they got that squashed. But, you never know what's inside those locker rooms. And, that's why when they truly say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, sometimes what happens in that locker room, it does stay in that locker room and the fans don't really know about it. So when things happen, you scratch your head. You're like, okay, what's going on? But inside that locker room, the players are talking to the owners, talking to the coaches, and behind the scene, they're, moving things. But I can't believe that you would mention something unless that's something that you're considering, but
Right.
why? Like you said, would you want to do that? So maybe there's some hidden things that we don't know. Maybe Murray feels like he should be shooting the ball more. Maybe he feel like he should be, giving more assists. Maybe he feel he should be the scoring leader. Maybe he feel like he should be the Batman and not the Robin. I don't know, but at the end of the day, you bring guys in to try to win championships, and this was a guy that the Hawks felt that could help them get over the hump.
Right. Yeah, you just wonder, what is going on there. And now it's even though his numbers this year are, we talk about stats. Trae's stats are, he's having an all-star type year if you consider his stats. He's amongst the leaders in scoring. He is number 2 overall in assists. His shooting percentage went up from last year, but this team continues to each and every year get worse. Now, at least last year they were 500. Now this year they're under 500. So, it kind of makes you wonder what's going on. And again, you can't just blame him, one guy, but it just kind of makes you wonder what the heck is going on with this team. I'm speaking of stats. I want you guys to take a listen to some of these stats here of Trae Young in these last 6 or 7 games. Against the Grizzlies, we expected the return of Ja Morant. Trae, 30 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 33% from 3. Before that, the Heat, who normally bottle him up pretty good, excellent game. 7 of 13 from 3, 30 points, 13 assists. As a matter of fact, he recently tied Oscar Robertson's record of most consecutive games where a player would get 30-plus points or 10 points assist a game. And probably the biggest one was the game in the Raptors where he balled out, 35 points and 17 assists to kind of start this run of 30-10. So, again, his stats are there, but you know how it is, Tyrone. It's not about the stats. Are you getting your team to win? Are you making your players better? And I'm not sure Trae Young is doing that.
Well, again, you can't argue with stats, right? But the most important thing, you have to ask his players, his teammates, how does this guy make you better? And I think if we could sit down with all of the Hawks players and just ask them, what do you guys think about Trey Young? And because at the end of the day, that's what matters. It's that chemistry inside the locker room.
Here we go. So Todd here. Speaking of people talking social media, he said Trey has been great. Team bad, no playoffs. Like I said, that's why I can't say anything. I mean, I can't get on Trey. Like I said, all his numbers over last year are up and better. 3-point shooting better, scoring better, assists better. I mean, anytime you got a guy averaging 25 points and almost 11 assists a game, what do you want the guy to do? But I think the problem is, Tyrone, we talked about on this show numerous occasions, the Hawks' lack of a legitimate big man does not allow them to defend anybody because I think they're in the top five. Like I know they're in the top five in the league in scoring, but in the bottom six in defense. And they have allowed the most 40-point quarters this year in the NBA. 40-point quarters. Yeah, nothing good's gonna happen out of that, sir. Yeah, if you flex out and pace over 4 quarters, you're talking 160 points. Which, by the way, the number one scoring team in the league almost did that. The Pacers in a regular, no overtime, dropped 157 on the Hawks. So this team really, they got to find a way to play some defense. I mean, to me, that's really the missing ingredient. They have to find a big man. I don't care what these guys have told us. Oh, we're happy with the guys we got. They need a legitimate big, a guy 6'10", actually 6'11" or bigger, a guy that weighs at least 250 pounds, a guy that can really help Clint Capella against some of these teams to help them avoid what we get. It's not so much the Hawks get out rebounded, but they get they get out rebounded on offensive rebounds, and that means extra shots and more points for each team. So to me, that's the key right there. They got to get a big like now.
I agree,
Will they
sir.
trade DeJounte Murray for that? I don't know. Well, I do know one thing, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk some NFL, the playoff picture. What do you think? The Falcons got a chance. And speaking of the Falcons, was this their best game played of the year? We'll ask that question and more when we come back with the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go nowhere. Thank you, and thank you.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
We're back here to the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show, and it's time for the NFL and our Atlanta Hawks. Tyrone, first, let's take a look at the NFL playoff standings. We're going to go to the National Football Conference because our Atlanta Hawks are in that conference, and let's take a look at the standings right now as we speak. We'll go to NFL.com and look at the NFL playoff picture, and let's see who's in and who's out, if it, of course, stopped today. Let's take a peek here. Of course, our number one seed in the NFC is, right now as we speak, the 49ers. Tyrone, that's your team. 11-4, number one in the NFC West. And Tree's team, the Detroit Lions, have squeezed ahead of the Eagles at the number 2 spot. Eagles are number 3, and the Cowboys are number 5, because as you know, the winner of the NFC South, technically, because they will be a division winner, would be number 4. Rams, number 6. Seahawks 7. So those would be the top 7 teams to play if everything stopped today. On the bubble, the Vikings, the Falcons, and the Packers. Those are 3 teams all trailing with an opportunity to potentially get into the playoffs. Tyrone, those teams I mentioned, who do you think is still the front runner to win the NFC and go to Super Bowl?
Well, after seeing the Ravens play yesterday, man, they look awfully good. And I am a firm believer that you cannot win if you cannot score. And they did a great job of the Ravens defense of holding down what we all thought was a powerful 49ers offense. And it's not to say that they're not, but Brock Purdy did not play. Yeah, Brock did not play like a MVP candidate as they were putting him up as. Now I understand everybody has a bad game, but come on, man. When you know that this is the game of all mothers, then this is the game that you prepare yourself for. And maybe the game was too big for him. I don't know, but the Ravens came in and they played very well on defense. They drew up some blitzes. Really wasn't a blitz. It looked like a blitz, but they still rushed 4 people. So that tells me when I saw that their defensive coordinator, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's a guru, because you're trying to cause confusion with that offensive line. And as far as Lamar Jackson, I know I said before that a RPO quarterback cannot win the Super Bowl, and I still believe that. I still believe that. And what I meant last time when I said it, you can't strictly just RPO and run the ball. You cut off half of the field with your quarterback. But because Baltimore has a good defense, a very good defense, kind of like what they had back in 2000, Ray Lewis and all them guys. The quarterback didn't really have to do too much. But in this case, not only do they have a real good defense, but they have a pretty good offense. So still, you got a threat with Lamar Jackson, but he don't have to do as much. So yes, he probably could find himself in the Super Bowl, but unlike I said before, he's not running as much. They're not making him do too much as they were doing before. So this probably plays right up Lamar Jackson's and the Ravens, you know, lane. So I may have to go from the 49ers to the Ravens, but I know the 49ers are chomping at the bit to get back at the Ravens. But the Ravens got a tough test against the Dolphins. So that's going to be a possible playoff preview. And then you got the Lions. The Lions, man, the Lions are looking pretty good. So I don't know. You could, see so many good teams. But the 49ers, they kind of shocked me, let me down. The Lions, they're doing real good. The Eagles, like everybody's saying, they got to run the ball. The Cowboys, they're kind of like Cinderella, man. You don't know what you're going to get, man. They may come riding up in a pumpkin, and sometimes they may come riding up in a sports car, man. You don't know what you're going to get. It depends on how much time left on the clock. Has it struck 12 o'clock yet? If it has, the Cowboys going to turn it to a pumpkin. So
It'll definitely be very interesting in the NFC. The Eagles and the Cowboys and the 49ers are going to take it right down to the wire. 49ers, I think they were hampered. Anytime you got I think a 10-year Pro Bowler, offensive tackle out, Trent Williams was out, and Tyrone, Trent Williams is like a mountain. And once Baltimore saw that, they said, it's time to eat. And you're right, they dialed up kinds of blitzes, zone blitzes, and everything they could to get Purdy off his game. Go social media real quick, and then we'll shift over to the Falcons. H.C. Hardy says if you watch that game, outside linebackers coach and former Falcon Chuck Smith got those linebackers ready. Yeah, they're, you know, the Falcons have puzzled me their inability to use a guy like Chuck Smith. He's been in their backyard forever. The other thing that puzzles me, I look at guys like Roquan Smith and other guys that are dominant players that played in the SEC, how mysteriously we can't seem to draft guys from the SEC, especially Georgia guys. No disrespect to Bijan Robinson, who's having a great year, 800 yards. If he has a couple of good games, may hit 1,000. But Jalen Carter is that dude for Philadelphia. And his stats on the Falcons, those 4.5 sacks, would have him number 2 as far as most sacks. And who knows what kind of defense, as great as the Falcons have had it this year, you would have with a guy like Jalen Carter, paired up with a resurgent. I mean, Calais Campbell and a Grady before he got injured. So, yeah, man, it just makes you wonder. Speaking of make you wonder, Falcons last Sunday, we saw kind of a glimpse of what could be. 29-10, Falcons defense dominant. 6 sacks. First time we've seen the Falcons go crazy like that in a long, long, long time. Arnold Ebiketie, a guy that they've been talking about for a while, now leads the Falcons in sacks. Zach Harrison, a guy that's been under the radar for Ohio State, big, long, and lean. Looks like he's picking up some great tips from Calais Campbell. He had 2 sacks yesterday. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be trouble if he can continue to grow. And the offense, for one, Smith said, let me just take what I can get. 5 field goals from Younghoe Koo. Yeah, did you want to score more touchdowns? You do, but the bottom line is you got to get points. And the Falcons won the game easy, 29-10 final. Can they run the table, Tyrone? Was this just a mirage?
Well, as they say, like Herm Edwards say, that's why we play the games. So, of course, the Falcons, they got to play the games. Yeah, they beat the Colts, the Bears. They got to play the Bears. They go there, and then they go to New Orleans. So, that's going to be I guess that's the game everybody really wants. The Falcons and the Saints playing for the division title. I'm pretty sure the NFL would want that. But I think, if you look at the Saints, I think the Saints possibly could win out and just, when it comes down to that last game, it's not going to be really too much in there. But again, that's why you play the game. So you never know. You never know. The Falcons could back into the playoffs.
They very much could. I mean, the crazy thing is that all these teams are still in it. Vikings, Falcons, Packers, Saints, and Tampa Bay all still battling for, in essence, 2 spots. Actually, really 1 spot as it stands right now, because both the Rams with their, you know, outstanding plays last few weeks, and the Seahawks, who have been kind of up and down, but right now Rams and Seahawks are ahead of all the other guys I mentioned, and of course the Buccaneers sit in a great spot because right now, according to the stats based on their schedule they got left and the way they're set up with their 1-loss record in the NFC, they are an 86% playoff possibility. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the
And then,
Falcons on that same stat are only a 10% possibility of getting into postseason play.
and then check this out. You got the Falcons right now in the draft order for 2024. They're currently sitting at 10th. And guess who's right behind them? The New Orleans Saints. So you think they talking to each other? Say, okay, hey, now if you let us win, we let you win. So I don't know. The Falcons, I don't ever believe guys talk like this. But do you say, let's save it for next year and let's move up in our draft, which the Jets are ahead of the Falcons. The Jets are at 9th. They got the 9th pick right now. If the draft was today, the Falcons would be 10th. The Jets would be 9th. Bears at 8th. They would be 8th. And then Tennessee, the Chargers, the Giants, the Patriots would be 4th. The Washington Commanders 3rd. Arizona Cardinals 2nd. And then Carolina from Chicago, they would have 1st overall pick, sitting at 2 and 13.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think this Falcons team, like I said again, if they win out, they have a possibility of getting in. They will need some help. Tampa Bay is going to have to lose at least 1 game, possibly 2. Now, this is what they're saying here. If the mock track was held tomorrow, they're expecting the gunslinger from out of Washington, Michael Penix Jr., to be available at 10, and the Falcons would go ahead and draft him and make him the quarterback of the future. I actually think that Penix is going to lead his Washington Huskies to an upset win of the college football championship. I think he's got the pedigree. I think Washington's got a good enough offense to get by Texas. And then once you get in that championship game, I have to tell you, Tyrone, all bets are off. Anything can happen.
But if that happens, Jonathan, if the Falcons, let's just say the Falcons win out, they're not going to be sitting at 10th no more.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, they would be up.
They'll
They'll be down to that mid, 14, 15 like they've been over the years.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Let's go social media again here. Todd says Falcons have a flawed run organization. Yeah, that's pretty true. And H.C. Hardy says, although they have a losing season, the next 2 games is Justin Fields audition for another team, so the Falcons better come ready to play. There's no question. There's no question. Now, Todd is saying, Preacher, the Washington quarterback is an interception machine. Well, he certainly can't be any worse than what we've seen than with Desmond Ridder this year. I mean, that guy just is it's crazy, Tyrone, when you look at the fact that Falcons turnovers have just basically destroyed their season. And everybody talks about B. John Robinson being a what's they use a generational player. Don't get me wrong, the guy's good, but I mean he's not like a Barry Sanders good or Emmitt Smith good. And I know sometimes it takes a couple of years, like it took OJ a couple of years to get rolling. It took Dorsett after his rookie year to really kind of become a dominant back. But I mean, so far from Bijan Robinson, I see a guy that is great east to west. He sometimes doesn't hit the hole properly, and he fumbles. He has had 2 fumbles in Falcons game that basically cost them victories. So, and meanwhile, Tyler Algiers, just so you know, guys, here's an interesting stat. When Tyler Algiers gets at least 50 yards rushing, the Falcons this year are 4-1. Just saying. When he gets over 12 touches, the Falcons are 6-3, I believe it is. So you wonder, you got a guy who's supposed to be a generational back, yet you got a guy who last year broke the Falcons rookie rushing record of 1,000 yards, kind of using him sparingly. And that's a guy I think that can really be an impact on the team. But I just think, man, that the way they've set this team up, Arthur Smith has mismanaged his resources. And I can assure you, if the Falcons don't win out, most likely Mr. Smith's going to be looking for another job.
Yeah, and and it's a possibility the Falcons, like I said, could back into the playoffs and it end up down to that Saints game. The Buccaneers, they have been playing. Johnny Manziel been doing okay. Everybody beginning to give him props and everything again. So the Buccaneers could
Baker Mayfield. Baker
Mayfield. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Baker Mayfield. He's been playing very well. So the Buccaneers could beat the Saints. And they're playing in Tampa Bay. So it could come up to the Falcons backing into the playoffs. And, of course, everybody going to take that and run with it and say, oh, the Falcons are, they're going to say something positive about it. But realistic view is, they backed into the playoffs. That's just my opinion. But you're in the playoffs regardless. But, they have an opportunity.
No doubt in the tournament. Well, folks, you got an opportunity right now as we wrap it up to find out more, as we always do, about our co-host and our guests. So now we do it, everybody. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Hey, I want to say this right here. The Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation. We are going to auction off a pair of a sports memorabilia, right? So this is a sports memorabilia. Signed football by me. Actually, it's Tyrone Poole, Super Bowl 38-39, and Fort Valley State, first round draft pick ever, 1995. So there's not another ball like this floating around. So go to the Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation, and we're going to have that ball up for auction. And also, I know we talk about the Falcons, but I played with the Patriots, the Panthers as well. So this is a 2018 Carolina Panthers signature ball. You got Cam Newton's signature on here, Luke Kuechly, and you got Christian McCaffrey. His signature is on this ball as well. So these are some auction pieces that the Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation is putting out there. We had a great event this Christmas, given we adopted 10 families, and all of the people that donated, we were able to give those families an opportunity while they were going through hardship, giving them opportunity to have a great Christmas by supplying them with some financial support. So I've been there. I know what that struggle's like, not to be able to give your kids anything. And as a kid myself growing up, not having anything, I know that hard feeling when you wake up and, there are no presents to open. So I just thankful that, all the partners and people who really believe in the Tyrone Poole 38 Foundation was able to give, and we were able to help those families put a smile on their face. So again, thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of the 2023 year, and we'll see you in 2024. Am I right on that? It'll be 2024 when we see everybody.
2024. Yes, indeed. Tyrone Poole, we appreciate you, sir. Remember, guys, it's right there on the screen. Tyrone Poole, 38. That's where you can find him on all social media. Tyrone, God bless you, sir. Appreciate this year. It's been one to remember. God bless you, sir. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks to Tyrone's encouragement. We weathered the storm, got through the lumps and the bumps. I actually started feeling better once we got into it. I'm suffering from some what they say flu-like symptoms. Had the shivers and quivers, but nevertheless, we thank God for all of you who have watched us here. Remember now, guys, we will do this Saturday sports update, good Lord willing, where we're gonna kind of recap kind of our year at Real Talk Sports. Well, one thing I got to do before I recap is to ask you. Now, here's something you need to do before the year ends if you haven't done already. If you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I'm going to tell you, please, man, please circle the name. Why? Nobody loves you like Jesus. He came to this earth, fully God, fully man, and died for your sins. But the important thing is he rose from the dead. And when he did, if you repent of your sins and believe in him, two great things happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That now means you can go to God like a heavenly parent, asking for anything you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And when you leave here, you go to that wonderful, beautiful, spectacular place, that beyond imagination called heaven. There's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic, no bad people. You never get old. You never die. You never cry. Every building adorned with the most spectacular jewels, even imagine. The streets paved with the gold is so pure it's translucent. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the people that are in heaven won't be in hell. You be with Satan, the devil, all them demons, all them terrible people. It's dark, it's dreary, it's painful, it's fiery. And most of all, you cut off from heaven and all the people of love forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number one instead of option number two. Remember, guys, follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. Follow me personally at Mr. Jason. Remember, tune in to our Saturday sports update. We come on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And we want you to join us here as we give you kind of a recap of our great year of 2023, which you guys were a part of most of the year. All right, guys, we appreciate you again. Lock us in on Saturday morning, 10 a.m., as we give you a Saturday sports update. And until next time we get back together again, you know how we do it. We simply say God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long, God bless, and happy holidays.